Well, thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here. I would like to start with a short presentation. I'm Eduardo Cilleruelo Terán. I'm a Spanish architect. Now I'm architect of Chile Quince Arquitectos. We are a Madrid-based office. The presentation that we bring today is how we are dealing with the pandemic situation in our architectural perspective from Madrid. The building as a tool facing the pandemic, the Emergency Hospital of Madrid. I move on to talk about this building that we are now finishing here in Madrid and is need to face the challenges that the pandemic bring to our society. But I divide the presentation in three stages. I make it clear that I will, in a first way, I will talk about an stage zero about what brings us together here, the history records. Well, in a first stage, how we implement this design of a building, and in the second stage, how we are building it. Because I will take the three phases of the design together, so I think it would have a global perspective of what is happening now. Well, stage zero is what is happening now, the COVID-19 crisis and immediate actions. It's important to say that, well, the COVID crisis came to us. The administration of the regional government of Madrid, the Community of Madrid, and the healthcare department brings the idea to use a big building that we have here, and it's a pavilion typology, to use and to implement as a temporary hospital. Well, this kind of building is called IFEMA. IFEMA is a building provided to fashion, to commercial events. It's a very big building that we have, and the first idea was, well, we could use this building as a temporary hospital. Well, the Madrid IFEMA Exhibition Center is the faster location to set up a building response. We have several pavilions, we habilitated some of them, and we have two key points in order to achieve this kind of typology, proper hospital response. Well, one of the key points was the existence of a large volume of air in different spaces, because when we have a big hangar, we can move a lot of air, and we can organize in a better way what are we designing, what are we providing as our response to the COVID crisis. As well, the modular organization. If we have no walls, if we have a plain building, we could organize very well, and we straightforward all the pathways and all the programs to come together. This is one of the, I don't want to spend a lot of time with this because we have a lot of things to talk about, and I want to not to left some of them out. But this is one of the images of this building prior the coming of the COVID crisis. We put the building completely clean without removing all the walls it had, and after a work of days, I wouldn't say a week or pair of weeks, the building has this form. We set up all the hospitalization areas and all the modules where all the people came. Some people came here to this building in order to reduce the increased demand of hospitalization in the hospital of Madrid, because we have the problem that we are not able to support all the patients that came into the hospital. So this building is in other ways a tool. Well, we can move this patient here, and they could have the proper attention. This is a floor plan of the building, which I think is very representative of what are we talking about. It's a scale of, I would say, at airport scale, maybe. The pavilions that we set up were 7 and 9, and at the end, only 9 was used, because it was a good new for all the society that we didn't require the use of the rest of the pavilions. But it was the very first effort that we made, not only at architectural studio. This project involves a lot of companies, a lot of people, public agents, stattal agents. So it was like the first step we made against the COVID. But something happened when we were in this line. This building are not private and is a private and public mixed-use building, so we couldn't use it as a temporal hospital forever. It has its own agenda, so we need to do something extra. And it comes to the table the idea of, well, we could make a building replicating this model that for all people works well in terms of design. Yes, the idea was, well, we are going to make a building that could use as a permanent permanent infrastructure against the COVID crisis or future pandemic situations. As well, we are going to implement with the other uses that we need. For example, material and logistics, as well as office and administration. So it came the idea to make this hospital an emergency hospital of Madrid called Isabel Zendal, was one of the first nurseries of Spain in history. And what are the needs of this building? Is, well, as a result, in response to the need of detected after the COVID-19 virus, with particular relevant impact on the city of Madrid, we promote a building to dispose for future emergency situation coordination. That was one of the main key points of the next phase of design of this building. Coordinate all the action that in Spain we have several administrations, so it's important to have a point to coordinate all the action to hospital society against these situations. As well, as I said, the complex will work as hospitality complex, but as well it will have material and logistic reserves. This is one of the very first sketches of the idea of the project. It was one of the very first idea came to the ground, but we have to. I would like to set up a little bit idea of what is happening with the project. Well, for people who are not used with the city of Madrid, this is the city of Madrid, and this is the airport. So the strategic location of the building will be here. It's a new place, development area, and it's very close to the airport. It's very close to the connection with the city. So it was like a good place to start thinking design for a hospital. It happens something. This is the sorry, COVID, the presentation. This is something very. This is the floor area that the plain area where the building is going to be fit. This is our site. So the building is going to be. It's important to say that there was a pre-existence previous project set up for this place that I don't want to spend time explaining it, but it was like a city of justice for administration, and there was a gallery and some tunnels here, so it was some difficult works in the order to foundation. But as I said, I don't want to spend time explaining this because it's very complex. But it's only to say that this is our site, and this is one of the buildings of this previous complex that is built. This is Alejandro Zaera building, one office for administration that now is integrated in the new hospitality complex. Well, which are going to be the definitions of our design? First of all, the definition of a model. We are going to work like cells. This is very important in how we live, how we see, and how we think these kind of buildings. A modular cell that brings together a common set for the building is going to give us the modular construction versatility, so we can implement different agents, private agents and contractors in order to speed up the construction of the building. And we are going to differentiate the pathways. The pathways are fundamental in this kind of hospitality areas. So we could separate the personal circulation, and we move these cells. We could have a easy model to respond. That was one of the main tasks, is to set this kind of building. This is one of the first drafts of the building. As I explained before, we started from this hangar scale, this large pavilion scale, we bring together the hospital in this way. So we are going to have 3 pavilions that are separated in different cells with the hospitality beds and some intermediate and intensive care units. As well, we are going to provide an office administration building for the regional government of Madrid. We are going to provide a storage and facility area to relocate and to hold all the clinic material that Madrid is gathering in the city for future crises or for this pandemic crisis. And we are going to have some buildings for energy. This is the building that I explained you before, one of the Alejandro Ferra buildings of a previous complex. And we are going to integrate this in the whole complex of hospitality. Well, this is a previous draft of design, but I think it's not very different from what comes now, which of course there are some difference between one phase of design and the execution that we are now in hands. But I think it's very important to separate the concept. We have a building that is joined with which has a connection with an administrative department. We have a public street that will connect with all the people that we came to the building. We will have an access with the ambulance and all patients, and we will have a logistic world that will be underground, and we have a separate role. This is one of the very first renderings we did for the complex. In order, you see at the back, the city of Madrid is really close to the city, and you can see in the front line the hospitality complex as well, the administration volume, the material and logistic at the back, and one of the central energy buildings that nowadays is moved forward. But I think we want to preserve this idea of a big building, but with the optimal scale to have this kind of pavilion. So it's not seen as a common hospital, but it has the advantage of the buildings for fair and exhibitions that we have in Madrid, and there are in many other cities. Well, now I want to go to step 2, where we are going to talk about how we build this, or how we build, well, is how the process that are taking shape in order to bring this building to reality. The construction of emergency hospital. Well, we start this process in May, finish in May, June of this year, and the challenge for all the contractors and architecture studios and all the agents is to set up the building in less than 6 months, maybe 5 months. So in a period of time of 4 and 5 months, no more, we have came back from this sketch and these primarily ideas to a fast track condition. Well, it's important that this is one of the main movements of this project of main support. We are in a fast track. The main idea of the fast track is we build what we are designing at the same time. So there is no time to make a large period of design. We have to implement it very fast. We have people waiting on the construction site for our design. So there is a close relationship between all the contractors and between all the designers, which it involves that the building has a kind of life spirit that is happening on site, what is being designed some hours before. So there is a challenge of we are going to build something without mistake in a short period of time. This is a high pressure design that involves a necessity to regularize and to normalize and to think the whole complex as a cell units in a very easy, affordable parts. Well, I want to stop here a little bit. This is the main floor plan of the building. As I explained before, we have here the main 3 pavilions of hospitalization. One of the third pavilion will be in reserve. It will be operational if it's needed in more time, but nowadays it's just being completed, but will be in ground floor empty. These are the other building administration area. We have here the storage and the facility complex. As well, we have here the central energy system with heat killers with heat, that bring heat to all the complex and to all the buildings. This is the Alejandro Ferra buildings. One of is integrated now in the whole design. The hospitalization areas are here in green. That we plan the ambition of the community of Madrid, a building for 1,000 beds, 30 beds, and we provide these big spaces for all these hospitalization units, as well one part for intermediate and intensive care units. These are the communications marked in red. We have this combine of two pathways where you can see the old corridors and some special and reserved space that brings services to the main area that you can find here in blue. We have a basement, so the basement is necessary in order to accommodate all the installations and facilities and some kind of infrastructures, and always gives service to the main building, as well as some part of the basement is dedicated for the staff. And we have, I wouldn't say a first floor, it's just the main level. The first level is just a corridor that brings some administration and some other uses, but we have emptied these places, so it's not that we have two floors in reality. Well, when I was talking about design, it implies all agents. So at the same time we were designing the building, we were calculating the building, and we were detailing the building. So once the building and the foundation and the structure is designed and we have the approval, we start solving everything that is coming in the works, in the construction site. Because as well we are designing, we have to resolve some details, but we have not the time to resolve the details in our studio as a normal project. We don't have time, so we have to be in the site. It's implied different kind of register of drawings. We have sketch, we have BIM models as well. Everything comes here and some on the construction. So the main goal, or I would say the main challenge of this project, is all this previous effort that we are doing and all the people that's coming together came in the idea of building the building in time for the. It's not only a matter of administration, it's a matter of reality that the society needs this building, because we have no time to waste against the pandemic. We have a high pressure now in Madrid. In time, this building will make a solution in order space to make this hospitalization area more functional and to provide space to reduce the impact on the rest of the hospitals in the region.
Eduardo, Michael here. I can see you have many slides still, and we have already a couple of questions. So could you wrap it up in 3 minutes, maybe? Thank you.
Sure. I finished, yes. Well, as I said before, we have modular and self-design. The project Relocate this kind of, we have to have an idea of the RCSL with 84 patients, intermediate care, intensive care. We have also provide a device circulation system as well. We have a public street, we have the green corridors, we have the dirty corridors here when the ambulance and patients came here, we have the logistic, and we have some corridor for the staff. Well, some point of this is the biggest part of the late part of the presentation. It's important to remark the industrialization and steel construction. It's impossible to achieve this kind of building without having the tools and with having the contractors in order to keep this building in time. We are working here with 14 companies, and hospital is the hospital building is with 3 building enterprises. I want to share some photographs of the construction site. We were assuming all this work together, the steel structures, the steel structure as well. As well, we are doing the steel structure. Something is happening in the basement. So we are finishing the basement. We are making the structure. We are building the other part of the building. It represents very well the idea of fast construction and fast design. We have no time to lose. And of course, with the facade, when we have this idea of we have this glass perimeter and we have the facade on made a steel facade on the top. We have this, of course, involving facilities of energy renewable. We provide a building that is summing all this effort together. As you can see here, we are finishing this building structure with the slab. We have this part yet finished, and probably tomorrow will be complete. Another image that represents very well what I'm telling is the idea of we have some part of the building finished in a way, and we are building the next one, so everything happening at the same time. We are very fast in a way to achieve the goal. We start in June of this year. This was more or less the area of making the slab, and 4 months later, we can assume that the building is almost complete, and we expect to finish it in this month. And this is many thanks for all. Thank you very much. Yeah, I know this is a little bit in a rush, but I want to explain a lot of things. Thank you.